Welcome to the Week 1 review episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams cover. We've almost had our full week of NFL Week 1 action. We're recording on Monday night, so we've still got Monday Night Football to go, but we're back, all the way back. It was incredible. Thursday, Friday, Sunday, possibly one of the best editions of Sunday Night Football ever. We'll talk about that in detail. It was awesome. Thanks for joining us. Joe, Byron, how was your NFL Week 1?
Fantastic. Yeah, great to have it back. And I know we had a little thing of like, is the Bills-Ravens too big of a Week 1 game? But at this point, I do not give a hoot. It was one of the best games of football I have seen in maybe my football-loving life, truthfully, but certainly in a long time. Great game. We will get into it. But yeah, great weekend of football.
Save that. Yeah. Joe, how did you enjoy your NFL Sunday, your first NFL Sunday?
Yeah, it was really good. Obviously, we'll get to the bets. Didn't have the greatest weekend, but everything else was great. You know, there's things which we talk about all off season. We say we're going to do stuff and then go against it. And certain teams are just always going to be the way they are. So I don't know why we try and, change what's happening with our bets. But it's fun to have it back. And yeah, it's certainly been missed. And we can just look forward to 3 or 4 months worth of Sundays where we have to say, sorry, we're pretty busy. We've got something on.
I've got something on, definitely. Yeah, I think I definitely had a much better Week 2 college than Week 1 of NFL, for sure, in my bet. So we'll get into that. I think this is my worst week of bad beats ever. We'll get into each one. I will tell you about them all in great detail. But there's only one place to start. We're going to review one main game a week. And then we'll spotlight on everything else. So we will touch on everything, but in an effort to make it a speedy review, we're going to focus on one main game for our review each and every week. And there's only one option. Although in our chat, I was kind of saying, I think I know which one it's going to be. And then, of course, Sunday Night Football blew everything out of the water. It was, a classic. MVP duel gives us Sunday Night Football classic. Bills stun Ravens. Josh Allen leads epic fourth quarter comeback and conjures up a miracle to round off the first NFL Sunday of the season. Bills 41, Ravens 40. Having watched it back, I still don't know how the Bills managed to turn this one around and dig this one out. What an incredible way to start Sunday Night Football.
Absolutely, and I can't agree more. My secondary bet we didn't cover on the pod, but we did cover on our Instagram and social media posts was the Ravens to win with 9.5 point. Not a head start. Bills get 9.5 point head start, and the Ravens still to win. And with 4 minutes left, I was like, I have absolutely smashed this. The Ravens being the better team. Derrick Henry is God. The Bills. I mean, Josh Allen is still Josh Allen, but the Bills look like they need Josh Allen to be a playoff team essentially. And yeah, I was feeling really good about it. Nearly 3-1. I thought it's a real nice bet for Sunday Night Football. Then in the phase of 4 minutes, Dalton Kincaid or Dawson Knox, whichever tight end it was, like flaps the ball up to Keon Coleman. Derrick Henry fumbles the ball. I'm just like, why is this happening to me? John Harbaugh refuses to go for it on 4th down. I mean, if you've got 2 MVP candidates, I would want the ball in my MVP candidate's hands. Feels not that bold of a call, right? But he doesn't. John Harbaugh plays scared, kicks the ball away, and what happens when you kick the ball back to the Bills and Josh Allen when they are looking unstoppable? You don't stop them, and the Bills go and win the game. What a Sunday Night Football!
Yeah, I'll follow on that fourth. It was even like there's the Henry fumble, obviously, but the one before that, it felt like they went within themselves. And again, The Ravens just being the Ravens, just like, you're absolutely hammering this team. Derrick Henry's running all over this team. Everyone's running all over this team. Whenever Lamar is just the pass run option, he's just running. There's like no one touching him. And it just feels like they just go, okay, we'll stop playing shotgun. We're just going to run this out and we'll just win this. But you're the Ravens and the Ravens. And that's what I was mentioning about teams just sticking to who they are, just somehow losing. And yeah, that 4th down, I thought, obviously the first two, you go with Henry the first play. The second play, why are you giving it to Zay Flowers and an end around? Like, you've got Lamar Jackson there. Like, if you're going to get someone running, at least do Lamar or let him throw. We'll talk about a game which happened on Friday where they just put it into the quarterback's hands and said, you go and win this game. And then when it's, they get the throw to Hopkins to make it 4th and 3. And you just think, just go for it. Just go for it, because you can just win this game there. You're playing against a team who scored 38 points against you. If it was 2018, I'd be like, okay, this defense has held this team up. Yeah. But, there's a whole thing about momentum and all that. And the Bills had it, and the Bills had just gone down the field. Your defense is tired. Jay Alexander keeps getting thrown on. Why not just go for it and then, give it into Lamar Jackson's hands instead of giving it to Josh Allen, who does this kind of thing? And it was just frustrating, because even if you don't get it, there's still a minute or so to go. You've got your 3 timeouts. They're probably going to get a field goal, and then you've got another chance to get a field goal back. By doing it this way, you're just giving the Bills the opportunity to run the clock down if they get anywhere near, and give it 5 or 6 plays, and they were back to where the Ravens were. So I just, like you said, I think he played a bit scared there, and I know there's a stat on Twitter, which on X, which I know Paul's going to bring up, which it's just the Ravens, how the Ravens beat Ravens. Just, I don't know how they lost this game. It's crazy.
Well, there's a couple. Let's do the first one before we share the tweet on screen. But yeah, teams scoring 40 plus points and leading by 15 or more in the fourth quarter was 772-0 until last night. And then Josh Allen happened, and the Bills happened. And yeah, your point about the Ravens there, we'll just share the tweet on screen here from Benjamin Solak, at Benjamin Solak on X or Twitter. The Ravens have now lost 8 games since the 2021 season, in which they, at one point, had a win probability of at least 90%. That's 3 more than the next closest team. We talked about this with the Ravens a little bit before. How worrying is it that they just don't seem to be able to fix this problem of just whittling games away and finding ways to lose these games? It's probably similar to what happened to them in the playoff game in terms of they had the opportunities to win it. We saw it on opening night last season against the Chiefs. They were there ready to win that game. How can the Ravens overcome this? Because this is something I feel that week 1. This is highly likely to rear its head again in January.
Yeah, and it's not. If this was a one-and thing, you might be like, well, that's an overreaction. Why would it happen again? Well, because as you've just shown there, it's happened 8 times in recent history. Like, the Ravens, ultimately, I think John Harbaugh needs to strap on a little bit and play a bit less scared. Like, you have the best quarterback in football, in my opinion. You have one of the best quarterbacks in football, undeniably. Your defense isn't the 2000 Ravens. There's a lot of good players in there. Kyle Hamilton will be in with a shout of Defensive Player of the Year if he keeps playing like he did last night.
Quick one. How close was he to blocking the field goal?
Yeah, geez, he's
unbelievable play. Yeah, he was so close, inches from blocking the field goal. We saw a few times the jump over week 1 that timed it, and he was an inch, it felt like, away from blocking that Matt Prater field goal. Sorry, Byron.
No, you're fine. But I think it is just John Harbaugh needs to realize what he has. He has an offensive juggernaut of a team. He does not have a defensive stronghold. We just talked about it a lot there. Josh Allen can go 70 yards on this defense as easy as he can go 30. It's just not playing to your strengths. It's playing scared. There was a Josh Allen quote at the end of the game last night where he was asked about what do you say to the fans who left early, and he was like, believe in us next time. And that's what I want to say to John Harbaugh. Believe in your team. Like, do what's got you there. You've got 40 points and you've lost the game. Like, because you gave the ball back to the opposing offense. Like, yeah, it's as simple as that. You just need to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, and I think there's some quarterbacks where you just know they're going to go down the length of the field. I feel like Josh Allen's now getting into that space with like Patrick Mahomes, where it's just like it's inevitable, and you just think, just win the game. But on the flip side, we're being a bit hard. Well, we're being harsh on the Ravens. I think let's big up the Bills, where it was like a strange game when they were losing by 15. I was thinking about power rankings, and I thought, okay, Ravens are staying at number 1, and I was still thinking the Bills are probably still going to be very high just because the offense did impress me, especially the passing game, which I was worried about more the running game. The running game didn't really get going because I think, James Cook only was 3.4 average and Josh Allen on 2.1. But, Keon Coleman steps up, gets 112 yards. I think Josh Palmer, which we were thinking he was going to have a big year last year, he had a great game as well. And the Bills just, what the Bills do. I'm still worried about that defense, but you are playing the Ravens. So I think I'll see how that looks the next few weeks. But I think it was a great statement from Josh Allen where there was a lot of naysayers saying he should have won the MVP last year, and he's definitely a kind of player where if the Bills are going to win, get to the Super Bowl, it's on him rather than the team. He has to carry that team. Well, I think Lamar will carry them, but he's got extra players around him. But I don't think the Bills have got that as much. So I think it was awesome by Josh Allen, and it's just like they're now the favorite to get that number 1 seed. If you look at all the heavy hitters, because you just look at their division, everyone's 0-1 in their division, and you look over the AFC North. We're going to the Steelers winning and Bengals winning, and it's just like and you look at the Ravens. I know they got the Browns next week, but they got the Lions coming up. They got the Chiefs, the Eagles. So they've got some tough games coming. And then we were here last year when they went 0-1 losing to the Chiefs, and they lost to a shoddy team in week 2. And we'll see how they go with the Browns next week.
Yeah. I think the Ravens will ultimately be fine, but yeah, the Bills are incredible. I always shout out, probably, we talked a lot about Josh Allen and Keon Coleman had a great game. Ed Oliver just seemed to make play after play on that D line. The few times they were able to kind of stuff Derrick Henry, which wasn't very often, it seemed to be him making the play. Was the only one of the only ones who was able to kind of get a hold of Lamar. So he makes the play for the fumble. I just thought he had a really, really good game, and despite kind of giving up 238 yards on the ground, I thought Ed Oliver in particular had a pretty big game and seemed to just make the key plays for that Bills defense. Just really, really impressed from Josh Allen. They just didn't seem to panic. I think the Bills. I think that was like key, no matter kind of how late in the fourth quarter it was getting. They just didn't panic, just kept playing. And probably just from the Ravens side, I think probably the most disappointed at the Baltimore Ravens. They had two chances to kill the game, really, which was just go get that killer first down, and they couldn't do it. But yeah, lots to be kind of excited about. And old 41-year-old Matt Prater kicking off with a game-winning walk-off field goal, which was good stuff. From a bets perspective, mixed bag. I think I was just a victim of us recording a day or two earlier than usual, because by the time it got to the episode being out on Wednesday, the Bills were +1. And I took the Bills at -1. If we'd have done it a bit later in the week, I'd have been taking the Bills at +1, +1.5. So I think the take was right. So I'll take solace in that, in terms of that. But yeah, Bills -1 was a push. We did cash Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson anytime touchdowns at 4-1 though. So good prop. Yeah. You guys, Ravens, you've already touched on yours, -9.5. Andrews anytime touchdown scorer. Wasn't really in it too much as you, Mark Andrews. Derrick Henry first touchdown scorer. And it was, who was it for the Ravens who scored first?
So he scored for the Ravens first, but it was the Bills who got the opening touchdown.
Yes, Bills got the opening touchdown. So yeah, rough Sunday night football from I suppose a betting perspective, but yeah, it was all good for the cracker of Sunday night football. Any more for Bills Ravens before we move? I mean, quick, put you on the spot quick then. Are we going to get a game better than that the rest of the regular season?
I'll say no.
Let's hope.
I mean, geez Louise. I hope so, yeah. But
yeah,
it's a tough one to predict, isn't it? Because I can't remember a game better than that recently. So.
Yeah. And we even got Lamar Jackson pushing a fan who pushed him as well. Yes. The fan has apparently been indefinitely banned from the Bills stadium.
A Bill threw a bottle at Derrick Henry as well.
Yeah, when he scored that touchdown, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't seem to get any mention, which I found surprising. Like all the replays cut off as he got into the end zone.
Yeah.
Just as the bottle's about to come in, which makes sense. But I hope that fan's been taken care of, not taken care of, a fan for life as well.
Bills fans, we always talk about Bills fans and how great they are because Bills Mafia are obviously incredible. But don't cross the line into Eagles fans territory.
No.
Like, keep being awesome. Don't cross the line to being dicks. And weird, when I was watching it back, my first thought was that bottle that it was throwing at Derrick Henry. My first thought that it was a dildo, because it usually is.
Me too.
From the Bills fans. Excellent. Let's move on then. So we're kind of just changing things up a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit more about spotlight and takeaways, or what we've learned from the NFL this week. So just to light touch on games. So I would highlight Steelers Jets. The written off quarterback shine in new homes. Rodgers and Fields combined for 7 touchdowns to give us an unexpected shootout at MetLife, with Rodgers coming out on top. Yeah, 34-32. I didn't see this scoreline come in. I think the over-under was 38.5, wasn't it, for this game? But both look good, and that's the point, I suppose. I thought Rodgers looked good. They had a couple of friendly bits of field position, which helped, that they capitalised on, kind of immediately punishing the Jets on that turnover on the kickoff. They had 2 touchdowns in like the space of 18 seconds. But I thought Rodgers looked pretty solid. I suppose what we saw of him that we hadn't seen, he looked a little bit more mobile. That Steelers O-line probably does need to play a little bit better. He was under pressure, certainly at times, but I thought the movement was good. Extended a couple of plays, and he was just pretty accurate, delivered the ball on time, and did more than enough to keep that Steelers offense ticking over. I thought he did a good job. I think what did he feel like? I think he was 244, 22 30, 244 and 4 touchdowns. So he had a solid day's work, and I was really impressed with Justin Fields. I thought Justin Fields had a good day as well. I think mix of using his legs. He ran in for 2 touchdowns. The high stepping one, always great to see in the fourth quarter. And Fields went 16-22 for 218 and 1 touchdown, and crucially got Garrett Wilson going, which is huge for that offense. What did you make, Byron, of kind of Rodgers and Fields' debuts for their new teams?
Yeah, super impressive, as you've said. I think, I mean, I don't expect this many points, but the Jets stylistically were what I expected. Run the ball, feed Garrett Wilson. A disappointing way to end the game, because, I've seen a lot of things of like, Justin Fields should have just run for the first down. If you can hit your number 1 wide receiver in the hands, I think that's the right decision. Like, absolutely, yeah, you could have run for it yourself, but you could also just pass it to Garrett Wilson, who should have held onto the ball. Great hit by Jalen Ramsey.
It's just a great play from Jalen Ramsey, I think, isn't it? Because, he hits him so hard. So hard.
But I think what, like I say, I expected the Jets to be run heavy, but what I loved was this all-line performance from the Jets, who allowed 1 sack all day. TJ Watt had nothing out of Ahmed Membu, who, again, we'll get to other teams in a little while, but I said it, draft day, in the draft, he's the best tackle in the draft class. If I was New England, I don't think I'd be looking too smiley at Will Campbell after watching that today. I thought the Jets were really impressive, truthfully. It's another one where I'm like, it's just kind of Mike Tomlin's mojo, isn't it? He just wins these games that I don't quite know how he did it. I think this will probably be Rodgers' maybe best statistical game of the season. 4 touchdowns on 244 yards that just kind of felt, so much of it just felt like yak and dump-offs that went for more than they should have done, in my opinion. DK Metcalf was okay. 4 or 5 receptions for 80-ish yards. And I still do worry about their passing game after DK Metcalf. Johnny Smith had the most screen targets on the entire week with 4. If you're designing plays for Johnny Smith, it's Arthur Smith, so he's going to, but not a huge sign of encouragement. I still do worry about the Steelers long-term. But, I love this Jets all-line performance. I was really pleased Justin Fields had such a good game, because he's had such a battering throughout his NFL career where things haven't been to his strengths, in my opinion. But I was just really pleased that he got going today. Really, really good game of football. And I was pleased for Breece Hall to get going as well, because he's had a...
Yes, he looks electric.
Yeah, he's had a real weird off-season where people are like, I think almost talking themselves into Braylon Allen being as good as Breece Hall. It's like, Breece Hall has had ups and downs in his career, and I like Braylon Allen, but Breece Hall has shown he could be an elite running back in the league, and Braylon Allen hasn't. Like, if Breece Hall can get this all-line in front of him and Justin Fields can keep going like he is, playoffs is a big reach for the Jets, but I still think they can hit their over 5.5 without much of a problem.
Yeah, I think Breece Hall had 145 yards to courage, but he just looked like he had that burst back, which we kind of looked missing. Like he looked like he was struggling last year. He had that burst back. He looked electric, which was fantastic. O-line was, that O-line point you made as well, and that's bearing in mind that Vera Tucker's gone down recently as well, and they've done that. Sorry, Joe.
I was going to say it probably helps as well that your quarterback can run, so just opens gaps, so defenders don't have to have that thought in the mind when they're going, rushing the the quarterback or the running back that the other one could just keep it and get around us no problem compared to Aaron Rodgers last year. So that's probably opening up some holes up as well.
Yeah, and obviously, of course, the deciding factor, Chris Boswell, 60-yard bomb, and that could have gone from 65 plus, I think, because it didn't struggle to make it. And as a result, it gave us certainly my favourite post-game quote of the season so far. And we'll let Mike Tomlin deliver in it. So this is from Steelers' Twitter account, I think, courtesy of NFL on CBS.
How you respond to that oftentimes defines you. And I can't say enough about Boz. Man, our kicker is a serial killer. Man, he got a low pulse rate. He can't wait to deliver.
Based off of what you saw in the moment.
Incredible. All-time Tomlin quote, I think. That goes on the all-time list.
I love the specificity of low pulse rate. Like, that is true serial killer behavior.
Sounds like a Ravens guy.
Oh dear. Right, any more on anyone else? Sorry, last point on Steelers. O-line needs to play better. The defense was dog shit, and that's the bit that's supposed to be the strength.
Yep.
The defense was really bad, so they need to get that sorted out quickly, I think.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it just feels like a Steelers year, as like everything. They're going to have all these issues. 10-7, 11-6. Yeah. It's just going to be one of them years. They're going to win these games. They get the turnover on the kickoff, which was massive. Which Jets being Jets, Steelers being Steelers. It's just happened. Like, we should just get used to this kind of stuff. It's nothing changes.
Second bad. Oh, sorry, go on, Byron.
Shout out Will McDonald, 2 sacks. One of your bets in the season, right?
Yeah, 10 plus Will McDonald sacks is what I've gone for. So I think I'm going to regret not going for 15. I think for Will McDonald, but yeah,
winning bet.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's just touch on the rest of the bets because this was one of the Sky Sports featured game. Second bad, I'm going to cut second bad beat. I mean, in the order, it's probably the fifth, but second bad beat we'll touch on now. Steelers -2.5, and Jets. I think he's got a bit funky. That Jets went for a 2-point conversion, whacked all the scores out at kilter.
I mean, if we're going bad beats, we go Jets halftime, full time.
Yeah. Also, Jets halftime, full time. Byron for yours, which again, just missed out on. Joe, you had both QBs to throw an interception. But you Byron to cash Brees Hall most rush yards in the game, 8-5, and I was expecting it to be a field goal fest, not quite in the way that it panned out, but I had over 3.5 field goals, 11-10. So bad beat one way, nice to get at least a prop winner.
And also bad beat for anyone who drafted Caleb Johnson in any fantasy.
Yeah, one carry, right?
One carry for -2 yards.
Yeah, rough one looks like. Jalen Warren is still the man for now. All right, next up, Joe, for the next spotlight and takeaway segment. Byron, it's yours. You've chosen to focus on Dolphins and Colts. Miami go from bad to a worse. A brutal offensive showing highlights Dolphins' weakness in week 1 defeat. No QB battle in Indy as Danny Dimes shines. Do you want to start there? Just because that's the end of the tagline. He was incredible.
Yeah, Danny Dimes, huge shout out for. I mean, I don't think he'll come up against a softer defense this season. I will say that.
That's a huge reason for it, I think. But he still plays in front of you, right?
Exactly, yeah. 22-29, 272 yards and a touchdown. And then on the ground, 7-26, but crucially 2 touchdowns there as well. Just an incredible, professional, competent quarterback. Exactly what Indianapolis have been crying out for a while. Which probably means they'll put Anthony Richardson next week because that's how they seem to have managed the situation for the last 3 years. Just a very solid game. Michael Pittman looked good, 80 yards. Tyler Warren on his debut, 7-76. No touchdown, but got himself involved. Had a rushing attempt as well. I think this is kind of exactly what you would hope to see if you're a Colts fan. I would have liked to see more Josh Downs. I would have liked to see more Adonai Mitchell, as always. But in terms of just coming in, taking care of business, perfect week 1 for the Colts. First team since 1977 to score on all 7 of their possessions. And it's actually the second time in NFL history, in recent history, where a team has scored on 7 drives to start a season, with a QB making their debut. The last time was in 2021, which is Gardner Minshew with the Eagles, which was also Shane Steichen. Another just tip to Shane Steichen being for what he's had to deal with in Indianapolis, I don't think he's been perfect, but I think he's done a relatively good job. I still think he might be on the hot seat because it's a change of ownership, but more days like this, and he'll be giving himself a real shot at keeping it and outlasting Chris Ballard, which I think is going to be important because that team isn't stacked with talent. However, let's get to someone who probably isn't doing a good job of keeping their job long term. Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, the GM, but Mike McDaniel is the person we see on a Sunday. He's got all in plays. The Dolphins were flatly embarrassing. Tua didn't seem to have anywhere to go with the ball. Xavier Howard, who was played with Tua in the past, is now a Colts DB. Said, we knew he gets the ball up pretty quick and wants to take away his first read. It's panic mode, and it showed. The Dolphins had nothing going. Devon Achane on the ground wasn't too bad, 755. But other than that, your top pass catchers were Tyreek Hill 4 for 40, Jalen Waddle 4 for 30, Devon Achane 3 for 20, Tanner Connor 2 for 20, Malik Washington 2 for 20. Tua overall 14, 23, 114 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. Woeful. My question is, who do we see first? Quinn Ewers or Miami's interim coach?
Oh, good question. Yeah, I don't think Matt McDaniel's long for this world, as in NFL head coach.
Over under Thanksgiving?
He'll be gone before Thanksgiving. I'm not sure what over or under means, but he'll be gone before Thanksgiving.
Before or after, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree before, because I think I just think the performances are going to keep coming like this. That's a team that's given up. It's soft. Yep. It's been let to go that way for a couple of years now. Putrid, embarrassing, just and that's a combination of, I think, Mike McDaniel and his style and leadership.
Yep.
And he's probably a really good offensive coordinator, not cut out to be a head coach, and that might be harsh on the guy because he seems a lovely fella.
I think of what it is with me with Mike McDaniels is he pulls out this cutie shit, which when you're winning games, people like. And I think that's so much to the "can it get colder" t-shirt. And then they went and got the butts whipped. You can't pull out this nonsense when you're losing games. He was asked about Ollie Gordon in the Friday press conferences. And, it's a fantasy football thing. We all know why people are asking. But it's like, well, he'll either play all the snaps or none of the snaps. Or he'll get all the touches or none of the touches. Or somewhere in between. And you're like, yeah, it's all well and good being a real smart ass, Mike, but you just got absolutely battered by a mediocre Indianapolis Colts team. The Colts aren't going to the playoffs. Well, they might sneak into the playoffs if they can play this team every week. The Colts aren't winning a playoff game. The Colts aren't a good team. Like, they're fine at best. I think they're below average. And they have absolutely embarrassed you on the opening weekend. The Dolphins don't look like they have a direction. The line's poor. What we thought was their strength was their defensive front. And that, it just wasn't there. There was nothing there. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Sorry, this is getting on to next week. The Dolphins are favored against the Patriots next week. I don't think I'd favor them to beat us. Well, I would. But they're 1.5 point favorites. They are at home against the Patriots. But, I mean, that's going to be my spoiler alert if I get number one pick in the FourFold draft. I'm taking the Patriots as underdogs because they at least look like they're trying. Mike Vrabel would whoop his players if they played like this.
Yeah, I think that's probably a key. I think there is that lack of holding people to account in Miami. I think it's just all the bad things from a bad leader as a coach. And like I say, it's not to stick him as a guy. He seems a lovely fella in that, but yeah, just maybe not cut out to be a leader of an NFL team. A room of 53 grown men who are elite athletes.
Another quote as well. Sorry, I just remembered it. If I can throw one more in there.
Yeah, go for it.
Bradley Chubb last offseason had spoke so much about the culture change in Miami and how great things were going to be. And then this April or May, he said, oh yeah, I was just lying. I didn't think the culture had changed, but I was just trying to instill that belief in the team. Mm-hmm. That's a big worry. He came out yesterday and was asked, why was the defense so bad? Or whatever the phrasing was of the question. He went, well, really, we were just calling our own plays. These things can't happen in an NFL fucking locker room. It is, if I'm, I don't know what the owner of the Dolphins is called off the top of my head, Stephen Ross, I think it is, in fact. I'm firing McDaniel today This is an organization with no structure. This is an organization with no leadership. That comes from the top, so maybe that's why it hasn't happened. But you can't fire the owner. You can't have
we've asked for that before.
Yeah, plenty, yeah. You cannot have your players coming out and saying, we're just ad-libbing, we're just doing what we fancy out there. Or you can if you win 33-8. You can't if you go into Indianapolis and lose 33-8 on week 1 and go, yeah, I'm just doing what we fancy.
Yeah.
It is beyond the pale.
It's all the bad signs. Tyreek Hill having the meltdown quite early on in the game on the sideline.
The most inevitable meltdown of the season as well.
Yeah. To be fair, I just didn't think it was going to come that early, to be fair. That surprised me just how early it came. Surely Tyreek's not, again, surely he's not there long. It feels like just a reunion with the Chiefs feels like the right thing for everybody there.
Somewhere, anywhere. Chiefs makes more sense, so yeah.
Yeah, given obviously the situation, which we'll come on to next. But I just wanted to just share this, again, tweet from Cy Clancy. So Cy, big Miami Dolphins fan, and he's the lead feature writer for Gridiron, UK NFL magazine. Great guy, Cy. But yeah, he's one of his wonderful tweets that he had during the game. But yeah, Miami season now consists of the following tags: March for Arch, On the Nuss Bus, Stay for Matei, Trade Fellas for Sellers. I think that's my favorite one. Bend Over for Mendoza, Blood for Club, Shove It for Levitt, Fall Far for Allah, Fall In for Jalen or Taylor, which are all the quarterbacks that are expected to.
In Cy's bio there, it has Mike McDaniel loves my accent. Not sure he loves his tweets as much.
Yeah. But yeah, so go give Cy, if you're not following Cy Minority, go give him a follow at Cy Clancy over on X. But yeah, that was of my many tweets that Cy was hammering out during the Dolphins game. He also had one, I think he said, what his other tweets are? I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I thought he was referring to the Channel 5 coverage of the first NFL game that they were showing, which was putrid, worse than anything anybody could have ever expected. Yeah, speaking of Tyreek Hill traded, someone trade O.C. Umenyiora away from Channel 5 because he deserves, 2-time Super Bowl winner, deserves better than chopping up hot dogs and throwing them at people on mechanical bulls, which is what fucking happened. Right, next game. Joe, this is your feature spotlight for this one. Chiefs can't handle the international voltage. Chargers light up the Amazon gridiron. Herbert's 3 TDs and a clutch scramble leaves Chiefs short-circuited in Sao Paulo. Huge statement win for the Chargers.
Yeah, it was. I brought this one up just because obviously we had the Sunday games yesterday, and it's easy to forget the games which happened early on in the week. But I just thought this was a huge statement from the Chargers. Snapping that 7-game losing streak to the Chiefs. This feels like the year. It's like them and the Broncos, where they feel like they can challenge the Chiefs for that AFC West title, which the Chiefs had it for the last 9 years. So I think going out there, and I think how they did it as well. I think we were all stuck with that notion of the Chargers going to be a run first team, and that's how they like to do it, and it's been a narrative all off season. But they changed the script. They put it in Justin Herbert's hands, and I think he was he was awesome. He had a big game. He's the third quarterback in Chargers history with over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the season opener. And just doing that, what we've mentioned about what the Ravens didn't do, putting his hands at the end, and he has that huge scramble with that slide just to win it for them. It was one of them games where when Travis Kelce was running down the sideline, you're thinking, oh, God, here we go again. The Chiefs are going to come back. And I know Hollywood Brown got that big catch as well, which I think that really killed the game, where how not punching that in to at least get it to a little bit close, a little bit more pressure and having to kick the field goal to do that. But I just thought the Chargers just, played great. I thought the defense looked good again. I think it feels like the Chiefs struggled against them. And obviously the huge injury to Xavier Worthy, which I do, I feel as bad because I had Worthy in one of my fantasy teams, and he was just like, first play of the game, and Kelce just takes him out and absolutely destroys him. And yeah, it felt like I believe that their plan was around Worthy. All this, how the game plan, they were going to go and try and go along with him. He was going to get plenty of touches. I know Hollywood Brown got them touch instead, but it felt like they had to reverse that dink and dunk throughout the game, and they just couldn't come up trumps at the end. But yeah, I think it was just huge for the Chargers. I think getting this win just puts them on, the Charbours are finally here and can they challenge this Chiefs team?
Yeah, it sounds like just on that, obviously Andy Reid's had his Monday press conference today, and it seems the injury is nowhere near as bad as feared. I think he dislocated his shoulder, but Andy Reid says he's day to day. Started to indicate, obviously, he's been pretty lucky. It's been pretty clean, maybe out and back in, no damage, no surgery required, and they might be able to rehab it. So he might miss maybe a game or two, but certainly not longer term, which was the initial fear, which I think is going to be big for the Chiefs because they are going to need him, especially with Rashee Rice still out till at least their 7th game.
Yeah, and just a big shout out to Quentin Johnson, obviously getting his 2 touchdowns and coming up. Could he finally be hitting the big time, which everyone expected when he was drafted in the first round? So he had a big game, 79 yards, 5 receptions, 2 TDs. So yeah, he had a great game for them as well.
Yeah, I was a big fan of his at TCU, and then it just not worked in the first couple of years in the NFL. But maybe he's growing into it. From our perspective, Byron, Newcastle Chargers +3. Was your bets? I was on the under 45.5, which it just got carried away, didn't it? Really, last field goal killed it for me. I was also Chiefs just didn't really rush the ball. That's a huge problem for them. They just did not look good on the ground. But like Pacheco still looks like he's really struggling. But also kind of all line in there. Mahomes was the best rusher by far, 657, and why obviously he did a couple of magic rushes that he does usually to keep drives alive. But yeah, I think that running game could be a huge problem with the Chiefs, and they might need to lean on it a bit more. Like I say, if they are going to be missing Worthy for a couple of weeks. What else did we have? McConkey and Pacheco, 2 touchdowns. Byron Newhard didn't come in. Hampton, 75 receiving and rush yards, just short. Joe, I think, did he end up early 60s?
Yeah, something around that. I thought he had a good game for his first game. Obviously, I know he did that boneheaded play at the end of the first half, which is rookie kind of mistake. But it looked like he had the burst, and I think he could be a big factor this year for them.
I think some criticism should go to the play call as well.
Yeah.
Like, don't have a rookie run into the sideline.
Yeah, that's fair. Excellent. Well, we'll see if the Chiefs can bounce back because they've only got a Super Bowl rematch this week against the Eagles, which should be a fun one. No doubt we'll talk about that a lot in the preview. And the Chargers are on double Monday Night Football against the Raiders. Next up, Joe, we're on to another new segment we've got, I think. Is that right? We are. We're on to our
Overreactions of the week. That's what we've got.
Overreactions of the week. And we'll continue talking about this game, I guess, because actually that's our first one. Byron, overreaction of the week, or the weekly overreaction. Have the Chiefs had their time? Can we even be confident that the Chiefs make it to the playoffs after their performance and setback in Brazil?
Yes, they've had their time. No, we can't be confident. It's the long and short of it, in my opinion. That rushing game is dead on arrival unless it's Patrick Mahomes scrambling. Travis Kelce is not what Travis Kelce once was. He's not a target hog. He's not getting open. If Hollywood Brown is your only usable receiver, you do not have a passing game. So none of that bodes well. If Xavier Worthy is only out a week, that obviously bodes a lot better. But they have to play the Eagles on Sunday. They have a mixed schedule throughout the season. Obviously, they have the number one schedule, so it's going to have some tough games in there. But with how the Chargers played, I think the Chargers should be favourite for the division right now. I think they have a better roster than the Chiefs. I'm happy out with their play calling as it is right now. Jesse Minter has been one of the best defensive coordinators since he took the job this time last year, or the start of the season last year. And I just think the Chiefs, that O-line isn't doing anything special. Their D-line isn't getting anywhere near enough pressure. It isn't stopping the pass game, certainly. It's done okay against the run. But I just don't see how they're going to blitz teams away. I think it's going to be more dink and dunk. It's going to be more 13-10 type wins when they get them. It doesn't look like a special team in any way. And I think they're in a tough division. We'll get to Denver later in this preview. The Raiders, obviously, we'll get to as well, but all won this weekend, for better or worse. They're in a brutal division. I struggle to see them as, the favourite against the Eagles on Sunday, and that's another one that I'll probably be looking at for our FourFold going, if I can get the Eagles plus 1.5 with Jalen Carter not suspended and probably not going to spit at anyone before the game, I think the Eagles are a better team than the Chiefs. So, yeah, I really...
It's already down to 1.
There we go. Yeah, it's already moved in the.
I know.
12
Eagles.
hours.
Eagles -1. Sorry, it's flipped already.
Oh wow! I literally looked before we started. So yeah, that's flipped in the last hour or so. Yeah.
Unless I haven't refreshed it.
I mean, I think I'm
Eagles -1. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at it wrong. It was plus yesterday though. So that's come down since like people have started betting into the new market. I just don't see what's there for the Chiefs. Until Rashee Rice gets back, they haven't got a passing game. They don't have a running game, and the defense isn't that good. Drew Tranquill was going crazy at Chris Jones for peeking inside, which led to that big play for Justin Herbert to go downfield. I just don't see it with the Chiefs right now. I'm annoyed that I've talked myself into backing them for the division again, because I had it all laid out for the Chargers, and I just convinced myself it was going to be the Chiefs because it's always the Chiefs.
Yeah, the seventh.
Sorry, I was
barely drifted, but Chargers in 19-10.
Yeah, for me, Byron, this is I think the Chiefs are going to be fine. I think it is an overreaction, this one. I think, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and we'll be sitting here being, they're the number 1 seed and they're playing Arrowhead, against the Bills in the AFC conference. So, yeah, I think just calm down, dear.
Calm down, dear. Excellent. Well, let's move on, and maybe you'll be pulling that sound bite out again for this one, Joe. The next overreaction is for me. The Lions might suck again. The Lions might be a really bad football team. That was a knockdown, drag-out, beat-down they got from the Packers. 27-13 looks an awful lot better on the scoreboard than the game did. I think reality check for MCDC as Lions out everythinged by the Packers. Have too many changes caught up with Detroit. I think we talked about this at in the build-up around losing Ben Johnson, losing Aaron and Glenn. But also too many changes. That interior of the offensive line's changed. And I think it might just take a while to settle down. The Lions will probably be okay. But I think it might just take a few weeks to settle down. But I suppose the bit that probably shocked me more than anything watching that Lions Packers game is that Dan Campbell set a standard for physicality and intensity for that team, because that's what they started out with. Those were the building blocks, I think, of Detroit in this kind of run. Since Dan Campbell's got there, it's about, well, what are the things we can do? Well, we can fight more, we can be more physical. None of that was, it's how we bite kneecaps. None of that stuff was there. Like, it was completely gone. And we've seen Lions struggling games, but they've never I don't really feel like they've been out for, or that's certainly not dropped off to an extent. And teams can have bad days and you don't execute and you struggle on defense or what have you. But my issue was that just wasn't the Dan Campbell team we've come to see over the last 3-4 years. And that's probably what's worrying me for the Lions a bit more. That has it just come now because now they aren't the plucky underdog. There is more expectations through the roof for the Lions. And maybe they've missed the chance, maybe last year and the year before, with the chances that they had, because it's hard to build a team to compete for long stretches in the NFL. If it was that easy, we'd see many more teams do it and go through it. So, yeah, I'm really worried that old line's going to kill them and hold them back, because it was the foundation of what Ben Johnson could do on offense. So many of them were on skates yesterday, including Penei Sewell at time. And I know Parsons is obviously top tier in the league. Parsons was running over him.
Yep.
You don't see that out of Penei Sewell. So my worry is that they've just got too many things to fix. It's going to be too long, and they kind of might be out of it before it gets to the business end of the season. Thoughts?
As a quick test of your bar here, the Lions over-under is now 8.5. Where are you going?
I can see them still. I can still 9 wins. Yeah, I can see them getting to 9 wins.
Yeah, I was wondering how far it'd come down, but I mean, drop a 2 already is not nothing.
Yeah.
We mustn't panic.
This is a panic for us, guys. Yeah. We agree with you, Paul, that they might not suck entirely, but I think it's going to be a struggle. Where I saw them as the NFC North winners, but this game is certainly knocked my confidence. And this Packers team's looking really good.
Yeah, I think it's the Rob Schneider from the Water Boy. Oh no, we suck again. Shout out. I think that's my worry for the Lions. But yeah, just to speak on the Packers were awesome. I've been last few weeks, even before the trade, I think this Packers team are going to be really, really good. They are that. It got a bit sketchy on offense in the kind of second half, and Jordan Love made a couple of real dangerous throws. One, he was lucky to get back the branch interception, which was an insane play, and that that could have sort of turned the game. But that first kind of half, Jordan Love was surgical. He was really, really good. And yeah, just getting everyone involved. I think 8 different Packers had got a reception within like 10 minutes of the game. I think it really was, spreading it around. And yeah, you could see that. I think a Packers receiver had more than 3 receptions in the game. But yeah, he was just spreading it out everywhere. And Josh Jacobs looked pretty good on the ground. And yeah, obviously they were selective with their use of Micah Parsons, but boy, when he came in, was he effective? Felt a little bit sorry for Jared Goff. It looked that play where sort of Parsons emerges from the kind of the mass. It very much looked like one of them kind of nature documentaries where you see, funnily enough, a lion chase down its prey, and it's usually in slow motion, and it's like you just know he's fucked. The deer, whatever it is, the antelope or whatever, is fucked, and poor Jared Goff just got cleaned out by Micah Parsons. A bit more of a successful game. I had the Packers -2.5. I had a lot of money, and a lot of the bets were on the Lions +2.5. So yeah, I was at the Packers -2.5. Byron, Isaac Tesla, anytime touchdown scorer, and what a grab it was.
Yeah, early contender for catch of the season. Goodness me. Idea for Detroit going forward as well. Maybe don't give Khalif Raymond 33 routes and only Tesla 3. Might bode well for your future. But they have just paid JMO, so they need a rookie to start producing. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful catch. Is now down to 50-1 for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he was 150-1 just a couple of weeks ago if you listen to this show. So, yeah, let's go Isaac Tesla.
Cool, and you also got the pass and sack as well. Was one of your bets?
Odds against.
Great.
I mean, because of his limited snaps, but yeah, I couldn't believe when he was odds against.
Well, it looked like he was going to get a few the way he was going and the way he was knocking over. And they were also lining him up everywhere, doing what the Cowboys did with him. But I wasn't expecting that maybe in this game just because of kind of the limited work. But yeah, and then yeah, so not bad for us. 3 out of 6. I think Joe, you had Gibbs and Montgomery to score touchdowns, 7-2. Packers over 27.5 rush attempts, 4-1, and they didn't. I had Gibbs over 90.5 rushing and receiving yards, which he had a relatively quiet game as well, didn't he, Jahmyr Gibbs? I think he rushed 9 for 19, but O-line was a huge problem.
He did set a record in this game, though, Jahmyr Gibbs. Not one he'll want. The lowest yardage on a player to catch 10 balls in a game in NFL history. Got 31 yards on 10 catches.
Was it Alvin Kamara's record he beat? Kamara have 10 for 30 something last year or the year before, maybe?
Possibly. I remember Wandale Robinson had 10 for 40 something last year, which, if it wasn't the record, it was really low. Kamara's a good shot as well, though. I don't actually recall the game.
It might have been. Anyway.
It's those kind of players that get it, though, to be fair.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. That is the Lions. I hope and I think the Lions will probably be okay. Joe, onto your overreaction.
Yeah, mine's Bryce Young going backwards. Obviously had the slow start in 2020. His first year, last year, he started off slowly, but then he picked up at the end of the second half of the season. We all came into this year being hopeful that he could carry that on. As a Panther, I just worry about this game. It felt like they came into it not prepared. I think that's like a worry. You've had all off season to play this Jags, team. Like, we don't know what the Jags defense is going to be. We could be sat here in 6 weeks' time being like, well, Jags have got a top 10 defense, but they certainly weren't that last year. And to go into that game, he threw 18 for 554 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also had a fumble as well. It was just some of the throws and some of the decisions just seemed Bryce Young of old, when you're just like, what are you doing? And yeah, like I said, I think it's Jags. I've got the Jags to win the AFC South, but I don't see them being like a crazy. Like, I thought they played well. I thought certainly before the weather break, they were looking like the Tampa Bay of last year with Liam going across, and Travis Etienne had a great game. I don't know what happened to Brian Thomas. Only got 1 catch and he had 1 rush for a touchdown. I was hoping for a little bit more with some of the bets I've got there, but Yeah, I just wait for the Panthers. That I can see we sat here in March, April, being like, oh, the Panthers have got the number 1 pick again, and what did they do? Just because, it was a bit wary just with how he played and how underprepared they were. I thought there was some Derek Brown looked big. Boy, he is big, but he had a good game to start. But yeah, I just worry about this team that, is this another contender for head coach getting fired? Maybe not throughout the season, but end of the season if they have another stinker. Yeah,
I think Dave Connors might be okay.
Even if they get the number 1 pick again.
I don't know. I think Bryce has got, because again, this is the same. He was dropped by week 3 last year, so he played the first 2 games. He was dropped by week 3. Andy Dalton came in and won a game. The same's going to happen here again, isn't it? Because, like what you do? There's an interception that was called back as well, which was ludicrous. Just an insane throw that he made, which was just stupid. And you're right, it just reminds you of where he was. He progressed so far last year, I think, as well, and it's a shame to kind of see him come out and do this, because what you need, even if you just looked solid, just looked okay, and that'd be a better start. But yeah, I'm worried for the Panthers. Very, very worried for the Panthers. Because this could get messy very, very quickly for them. So yeah, I'm with you. Do you think, I put in the headline there, is another slow start for Bryce going to be the final nail in the coffin of his career as a starter? I don't think someone else is going to give him a chance, are they?
Well, you never know. Sam Darnold's starting right now, so you never know in this league.
Baker Mayfield is, and Baker Mayfield's revitalized himself. You look at where Baker Mayfield was in his career, it's easy to forget now that he's Baker. You look where Geno Smith is in his career now.
That's fair.
I don't think it's necessarily nailing his coffin. If I was Sean McVay, I'd be taking a good look and thinking, we need a future plan for Matthew Stafford. I think he's a kind of play caller that would get the best out of him. Obviously, Sean McVay, he'll get the best out of anybody. But I think specifically for Bryce Young, who he has elements of doing that Drew Brees play style, but he's just so inconsistent. He's just not good enough decision maker right now. And it's tough because, we say it a lot with and he's not Trey Lance, he's not Anthony Richardson, but the way to get better is for them to play. But it's one of the things that dings the NFL has developed, inability to have a developmental league, is Anthony Richardson doesn't have anywhere to play. Trey Lance doesn't have anywhere to play. So they're never going to get better because they don't have anywhere to play. You don't get better in training camp. I mean, you can improve your camp, yada, yada, yada. But you need reps. And you need to keep your job as a coach. Yeah. Nobody's going to say to Dave Canales, you've got 4 years, you'll turn Bryce Young into a franchise quarterback. It's just not going to happen. So it's easy for me to list Joe such Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith. Those are far few between.
Yeah.
Normally, if you fail.
Just a quick one on the Jags then before we wrap up this game. Thoughts on Travis Hunter, of course. This is the highlight there. He predominantly on offense. He had he had a handful of snaps on defense. Certainly not as many as I think we were all expecting. But the Jags are sort of saying they treat it kind of week to week, depending on opposition, whether he's going to play more at corner or wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think this week was almost like I don't want to say preseason game, but this game was, it was 20-3 so early that I think they could kind of just play easy with him. I think it was impressive what he did on offense, but just didn't seem to be much need to force feed anybody. And I wonder if that's almost a case of Liam Cohen wanting to keep his cards close to his chest for when he needs to.
Fair enough. Excellent. One of the three weather delay games that we had in week 1, which is strange. Funny old week for it. Right, that's the end of our weekly overreaction segment. I quite enjoyed that. We'll keep that. Let's start rattling through the rest of the games then. Of course, our FourFold challenge returned. Cracking start from us, wasn't it, really? Byron, you went the best of us, 2-2. Me and Joe both went 1-3, and Gummy, our guest from Fantasy Gameday, went 1-2-1. Our FourFolds went about as well as our Fantasy Gameday team did as well, but we'll get to that later. I suppose, Joe, we'll start with yours. So you had the Lions as your underdog, of course. We just talked about them being soundly beaten by the Green Bay Packers. Next up, you had over in the Bengals Browns, and yeah, this just didn't really get going from an offensive side of things. The Bengals have 7 offensive yards in the second half, and it's the lowest number of offensive yards to win a game in X number of years. 7 yards on offense in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know how the Bengals came out winning this game. Again, on the opening, when I said teams are the same teams, we talked about the Bengals all summer saying we're not going to back them to cover the spread the first game. We can't trust them. And we'll play on the next when we talk about the ATS. And we all went for the Bengals. It's the typical Bengals. Yeah, I should have really thought about this. They do struggle against the Browns. It feels like that's their one bogey team. Miles Garrett, there was one series where Miles Garrett was just eating Joe Burrow up. I think he sacked him twice in a row, and then they nearly got a safety after.
On a safety.
Yeah, it was so close, and they just couldn't do anything. It was just a sloppy game. Obviously, Smythe, the Browns kicker, will be looking for a job this week because you just can't miss that many kicks. Obviously, he missed the 1-point conversion, and I think he missed 2 field goals. He
missed one field goal, 1 extra point, and that's ultimately what cost him.
Yeah, and then the 2 interceptions. What the Bengals got were, no interception is lucky, but they were fairly lucky that they bounced off the Browns wide receiver's hands and popped up into the Bengals defenders' arms. So, but it was there for the Browns to get this. It felt like it was going to be a typical Bengals week 1 where they lose to a terrible team and we're all scratching our heads. And yeah, it's just a low-scoring game. The Bengals defense did step up and looked with Trey Hendrickson, but I'm still not confident there. Joe Flacco still threw 290 yards on them, so they got plenty of yards. Just obviously couldn't, put it away. So yeah, I just worry. Jamar Chase only got 2 receptions for 26 yards, 5 targets. They just didn't feel like they were going, and there was still a chance when I think the Browns could have got a touchdown if they got a 2-point, and then the Bengals would have had to score a touchdown, but yeah. It just didn't happen. I think the Bengals, the only good thing about this game is that they're 1-0.
And that is it, which we're not used to seeing out of them. But yeah, they had 159 yards of offense, the Bengals. Mm-hmm. We see them have that in a quarter.
Yeah, when you look at Joe Burrow threw for 113 yards compared to Flacco 290. Both running games are terrible. So yeah, Bengals only rushed for 46 yards and 23 carries, so average of 2 yards per carry. That's how.
Yeah,
terrible that was.
Yeah, absolutely. Browns defense is probably going to be good, and that's probably going to keep them in games. So I wonder if interested if they end up winning a few more. And Harold Fanning Jr. was awesome. I really like him, but obviously David Njoku, usually very popular mid to late tight end option. Harold Fanning might be stealing some of the work here, or more than some of the work. He looked really, really good. Excellent. Right, Joe. Next up, you were on the Patriots as your favorite. And they were beaten 20-13 by the LA Raiders. Gino had a pretty big day, Byron. What did you make of his debut for the Raiders?
High-level Gino, yeah. I mean, he had the one interception that was a bad throw. I think the receiver, I'm not sure if it was Mayer or Bowers, I'm sure it was a tight end, could have done more to prevent it. I don't think it was a very good contested catch effort, I will say. But it wasn't a sensible throw from Gino. But otherwise, I thought it was really good. And I think he had to be because Jennety didn't get going at all. And yeah, the Patriots defense got, plenty of yards for contact on, stopping him going, Jennety. So I think it did come down to Gino, 362 yards, which led the slate, not the Sunday games included. I'm pretty sure he led the slate entirely, though, in terms of passing volume. He would just... Oh, no, Josh Allen overtook him. Sorry, I'm waffling there. No, I just thought it was really impressive. A bit of a concern with Brock Bowers, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm saying Michael Mayer in my head. I'm like, no, Michael Mayer's a recipient who went out with a knee injury. He said he's fine, but I'm also seeing reports he might miss a couple of weeks. Could be a big issue. Jacoby Myers had a good game. But yeah, I thought just Gino was exactly what you want Gino to be. Controlled the line of scrimmage well. Managed to open up the playbook well. And yeah, I think I'm not going to say the Raiders are going to be a playoff team, but I think they played pretty well here. This was my underdog as well, so the Raiders are our head-to-head matchup of the week. And pleased to come on.
Yeah, I was disappointed in Drake May. I don't think he had a great game. You just hope that it's only his second year, and it's week 1, so we can't overreact. Obviously, it's not in the overreaction segment for that reason. But it just wasn't clean, and it wasn't the progression on it. And I think the biggest issue is that if Keishon Butte is your leading catcher with 103 yards, and Hunter Henry had a good game, and Stephen Diggs got a few as well, but you just were in again. It felt like, and this felt like across the league, because both teams were only around 2.3. 2.3 was Raiders and 3.3 Patriots. That we all thought the running game was going to be such a big thing coming into week one, and it just wasn't. It felt like teams set up to just stop the running game, and it did. So the Patriots need to improve that, and then like you said, the defense needs to step up and get some stops. But I'm feeling more positive with the Raiders. I think that offense and especially the two tight ends, I think they can do some damage this year. And I think that and their defense actually stepped up. That was the biggest worry, but Pete Carroll's coached them up. So
yeah, Brock Bowers seems to suggest he's going to play Monday. So from kind of update today, so same with the extra days, he feels good that he'll be able to play. So they're on Monday Night Football. Excellent. All right, and then your under was the NFC East clash, the Giants Commanders. 21-6, so another low-scoring game. Again, a lot of unders this week. Which idiot would bet overs? But yeah, what did you make of this one again? I think just a routine day's work for the Commanders. And the Giants defense is going to keep them close, I think, in a lot of games.
Yeah, definitely. I think the takeaway from this main game is the Commanders actually had a run defense, which was really impressive for Kinlaw, who's bounced around 49ers, and now he went to it was somewhere else last year, but it felt like he stepped up this game, and the Commanders just did what they had to do. It was it was an exciting game, but there's already the rumors right now that Jackson Dart might be starting next week. Then if you saw the press conference
Daboll didn't commit to keeping Wilson as he started, did he? So
and it feels like, is this the week one? Because Russell Wilson just wasn't giving much whatsoever for this team, and they're going to the red zone a couple of times and just couldn't put it away, and going to win games in the NFL. So a commanding win for Washington, and then we're going to Thursday night.
I don't know. I feel like he kind of did what we were expecting him to do. A lot of targets to Neighbors. And Neighbors, a couple of them deep balls I thought the Neighbors should have come up with that might have changed things a little bit. Russ is a pretty good deep ball thrower still, even in his, obviously, as we're getting on a bit. He still can kind of give his receivers chances to go get them balls. I really thought Neighbors should have come down with a couple more of them. So, that might have helped and change things a bit. But yeah, running game struggled. Tracy struggled. Scatterbo struggled on the ground. Probably need to get him a few more touches. And obviously Washington ran all over them, didn't they? I think Washington ran for 220, almost 7 yards to carry. So you'd be expecting that D line. We talk about being able to get after the quarterback. Maybe expect them to kind of be able to be a bit better run fit as well. I think. So
and a big shot. Yeah, and Debo had a good game as well. So he felt like not quite old Debo, but he still had that element where obviously that touchdown was very esque of Debo a few years ago. So yeah, positives for them.
And one of the fantasy darlings did have a big game. Not many of them did they? But a decent game. Bill Krosky-Merritt had 10 carries, 80 yards and a touchdown. So he certainly got, obviously, Christian Rodriguez was a scratch, wasn't he? So any concerns about splitting with that? I think Nichols only had 4 carries. So it does look like Krosky-Merritt's going to be the guy for now. Bill. Excellent. All right. So, Joe, you were 1-3. Rough day's work. This is Byron, your first and 1. You're over. This was also another bad beat of mine. I was on the over this for one of my bets. Fuck Young Wei Koo, basically.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah. Finished 43 points, 23-20 win for the Bucks, obviously. Missed field goal to take it to overtime. Very, very makeable field goal as well to take it to overtime. And then you presume you'd got another score in that time. So we'll take that as a moral victory over. Have we talked about this game? No.
Nope. Go for it.
Oh, and Emeka Egbuka.
He's awesome.
Yeah. He's somehow still backable offensive rookie of the year. He's 8-1. And I don't know how he's 8-1. Ashton Genty is still favorite at 3-1, which again, if and when he gets going, I understand it. Marion Hampton is around 4-1, and Cam Ward is just below Egbuka. And I'm not saying that week 1 should decide everything, but Egbuka looks like exactly what as advertised. Yep, just incredible talent immediately. 4 receptions, 6-7 yards, 2 touchdowns. And yeah, just, I'm not going to say caught everything came his way, but he just looks like an immediate NFL player. Some concerns. Bucks didn't start too hot, but got going, got exactly the Baker Mayfield experience. So in the positive sense, finished the game really well. Without Tristan Wirfs in there, without Chris Godwin in there, K. Dalton coming off an illness and injury in the week prior, I think you know what? I think Todd Bowles just needs to write a book. The key to winning the division is just don't shit yourself every week. You look at the Panthers. We haven't talked about the Saints, but we know what the Saints are. And you look at this Falcons team, just shitting themselves every single week. Todd Bowles, credit to him, he keeps winning the division. And I just don't know how, on a football sense, it happens, because the Bucs are good, but they are so helped out by their division friends, it feels like, rather than rivals at this point, because they just gift them games and they gift the opposition's games. Good for Todd Bowles, good for the Bucs. Always delighted for Baker Mayfield to win games, and absolutely delighted for Booker to hit the ground running. The Falcons had some elements of good play. Bijan couldn't get anything going on the ground, but through the air, he was really impressive. Had that great touchdown, one of the earliest touchdowns on the slate, it felt like, which is encouraging, especially if you took Bijan in fantasy with one of the first picks, certainly. He's going to have to get that work through the air. Since Caleb McGarry went down, obviously that O-line is worse than it was. But yeah, it feels like just one of them Falcons have got a Falcons game.
Just can't get out of their own way, can they? Just cannot get out of their own way. And whether that
cannot get me an over.
Don't play on the field. That sequence, I know they got in and scored in the end, but the sequence to get to 2020, like, they would just have to be gifted another set of downs to do it, because they were just the call when they got it to first and goal at the 1.
Yep.
And they called just an outside run that went backwards for 3 yards. It was just abysmal play. Those coaches are going to hold this team back. Like, again, and
it just feels plays, like, again, like, if we can see what's coming, the defense definitely can, because they're more skilled than we are by 1,000,000,000%. Kyle Pitts got going 759 on his way to his 5 touchdown season. As numbers dictate, he will get. He's had one in his first year, 2 in his second year, 4 in his fourth year, etc. So he'll get 5 this year. I thought he was fine, and he's going to have to be, because Drake London went with a AC joint injury.
Late on, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, week to week, we'll see if he doesn't go. Load up Bijan Robinson in Fantasy Gameday, because he's going to get checkdowns galore. Darnell Mooney didn't make this week. You presume he will next week. I love Darnell Mooney, but he's not a number 1. Work to do for the Falcons.
Excellent. Moving on, we've talked to you had Chargers Chiefs under, which we've talked about, which hit over. Jags as your favourite, which we've talked about, and also the Raiders as your underdog, which hits. That was your 2 and 2. I had under for Sunday Night Football. I gave that wonderful stat about how under Sunday Night Football had been. Sorry, and then it went over the total by 30 points, roughly. Joe, let's talk about the Niners. Niners 2.5-point favourites. I had that. That was my only one that hit. Made hard work of it. It was quite the adventure, particularly on special teams with Jake Mooney.
Rinse and repeat, like I said.
Kicking key, wasn't it? Special teams key. We've talked about in the Browns game. Ravens missed an extra point. This game, Falcons,
Yeah, that was going to be one of my headlines, about the kickers. But again, it felt like the Niners of last year, where you're watching the game, you're thinking, how they're losing this game, and how they're like, is it 10-0 right now? They should be ahead. It felt like they were the stronger of the two teams. Purdy went for 277, and Darnold went for 150. And the running game, I thought McCaffrey had a strong game through the air, and I know it took him a while on the ground, but all the worries we had before the game with his injury, I thought he played big. Obviously, I thought that the big issue was with Kittle going out with an injury. It looks like he's out for a few weeks, because he caught the first touchdown pass, and whenever going to the red zone, it feels like Kittle's the man right now, just with the lack of weapons they have. So Kittle's out for a while. Purdy's day-to-day, apparently. So we'll see. And Jennings went out as well during the game. I think he got his contract just before the game at the weekend. But it looks like he was struggling, and they've just signed Kendrick Bourne off the street. So a win's a win. That's all that mattered. You know, like two missed field goals. The first one was, you know, diabolical that he missed from that far out. The second one, you know, yeah, he blocked it. I don't know how close he was, but yeah, you got to give it up to the Seahawks. But yeah, I thought the Niners, some with Purdy, some of his throws felt very floaty. But it worked out because Pearsall got that big catch near the end where, you know, it felt like the Seahawks. What's his name now?
Woolen?
Yeah, Woolen. Which I know he got that hand in for where it looked like Pearsall was just going to catch the easy touchdown, but he read that one to Pearsall down the line. And then again, when the big man, Jake Tongs, just come out of nowhere and never caught a pass in his career and catches 3 for 15 and the winning touchdown, which when Purdy threw that, I was like, what are you doing? That's going to be interception. He comes out and grabs it. It was great. And then Nick Bosa coming up with a fumble at the end. So yeah, great for 49ers for the win. They just need to start putting some more points on the board and yeah, that was the issue last year. It feels like it's continuing this year. And on the flip side, I thought the Seahawks running game was a disappointment where that was the 49ers' biggest weak point in the defense. It felt like they've improved, but not that much. And yeah, just nothing felt like it was getting going. And we thought coming into how the preseason was, the Seahawks running game was going to be electric, and it just wasn't. It was disappointing. So they need to turn that around for them to go. And then also, you know, JSN gets 124 yards, and the one next to him was Cooper Kupp with 15. Yeah. So if anything happens to JSN, that is a worry in Seattle because, you know, the 49ers are struggling, but they're not struggling that bad. So,
quick one, Byron, how worried should Kenneth Walker owners be?
Oh, I had to be talked off the cliff last night. Yeah, Charlie and Cindy were bringing me back from the cliff. Yeah, because I was about ready to jump. Yeah, very worried. The Seahawks, it was pretty much an even split between Walker and Charbonnet. Neither of them looked very good, truthfully. Charbonnet looked a little better, but both of them looked kind of stunted. I don't get this Seahawks team, but yeah, Walker, I was big on. I have him. It was actually it's my only season bet that didn't make it to our show. I forgot to list it. Was Kenneth Walker have the most rushing yards in the NFL? 69-1. So, I mean, still a nice long price, but yeah, it's for a reason. I don't know what the Seahawks plan is on offense. I think it stinks. I think they were very, very, very poor. I'm not saying the 49ers were great, but I don't know what the Seahawks have been doing this team building, and I don't know what they're doing game plan wise.
Funny team. We'll see how they go.
Do you think, Joe? Sorry to interrupt. With Kittle being out, do you think next week it might be tong?
Sorry, it was terrible if you're listening to that. Spat down the microphone at Byron's Cisco joke. Excellent. Is it Cisco, right?
Yeah. It's Cisco, on your way.
Yeah, excellent. Cool. I had the Falcons as my underdog plus 2.5, and then over. And this one was nowhere near. Texans, Rams. This was putrid. 14-9. The Rams won against the Texans. I think the only good thing in this game was Puka Nacua, wasn't it?
Puka Nacua looked good, not just play wise, but visually.
Yeah, like
very Terry Butcher, very Paul Lynch, very just very cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. George put in our chat. Is that as far out somebody's been on their over/under picks for the FourFold ever? 30-odd points out for the Sunday Night Football, and then under by $1 billion here.
Yeah, not great. I mean, certainly percentage-wise, like under. For your over, sorry, that went under. I did. I'm not sure there's that much talk about this game. I think Christian Kirk was a big miss for the Texans. In a way the market didn't really react to, because as soon as I seen he was out, I went big on the Rams, because with this O-line the Texans have, they need quick hitters, and they don't have them. Nico Collins is one of the best receivers in the league, but he needs to develop his route. He's not a quick hitter. He's not Puka Nacua that, you know, plays at the line of scrimmage necessarily. Texans, I think, might be a sneaky... might be on Overreaction Monday next week. I guess it's probably my easiest way of saying it. I am very surprised. Sorry to kind of hijack your point or your moment here, Paul. You can still get the Jags at plus 200 or 2-1 to win the division. And I don't know. I mean, I fancied that before the season, so maybe I'm biased, but the Texans look a bit lost to me. I think that's another team that might be having a shake-up coming because, I mean, I know they made the playoff. They won a playoff game last year, but they just look so lost. And if you're trying to improve your O-line, bringing in a lot of players that aren't very good is an issue, in my opinion. And then we just talked about the Rams, and the 49ers Seahawks. And we can mention the Cardinals whenever we want to, but you can still get the Rams at plus 200, 2-1 as well. And you can combine the Rams and the Jags at 8-1 to win their division. And I just kind of look at what happened yesterday and I'm like, aren't they just the best teams in their division? Like, I don't know. You don't have to give much of a take back on it. I just wanted to kind of get it recorded so I have it on film that I'm backing this after week one. Because I don't
worry.
Yeah, I don't really understand why it's 8-1. I think they should both be favoured to win the division.
Excellent. Right. That is the end of our FourFold. I guess the other game. So Gamit, he had a push. Oh, no, sorry. We'll talk about the one game that Gamit had that we haven't talked about. Gamit had a push on his favourite. He had the Broncos. -8. They won by 8. The lines were good this week, weren't they? The Broncos won by 8, 20-12. Yeah, I thought the Broncos were pretty. The Broncos were very, very slow. Like they just really seem to struggle. Sloppy football, I think, from the Broncos. Bo Nix made some really bad throws, and I thought Cam Ward, even though it's 2012 or 28 for 112, I actually think he did okay given he was playing that defense. That is an incredible one.
Agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go ahead, Joe.
No, you go first, man.
Yeah, totally agree. Sean Payton has been saved by his defense because he got too cocky with his play calling. I think trying to get Bo Nix going, even late in the game, he could have just seen the game out, but he chose not to. Called that, the over routes, wide receivers, and Bo Nix went to the wrong one, which caused a turnover on downs. I think Sean Payton was just lucky, truthfully. It was Cam Ward's debut. And I agree. I think Cam Ward, he maybe needs to, one of two things. They need to get people who can catch the ball a bit better, or he needs to take a little less zing on his balls. Because he's kind of zinging it, but not into their body. He's zinging it at the hands, and he's just going through. It's very telling that Tony Pollard was their leading receiver for 29 yards, and he had one target. Calvin Ridley's in that 50% catch rate again. A bit of some signs of progress, I guess. If you're a deep fantasy or dynasty player, Eli Ayomano, 7 targets in the game, and that's the high number there that stands out because he ended up with 13 yards and 2 catches. But it's certainly looking to get involved. But yeah, those young players on the Titans, pass catchers, are going to have to learn to catch a very fast ball, or Cam Ward's going to have to get a little more deliberately where he's throwing it, which isn't easy against a defense like the Broncos, obviously. But I thought it was more good than bad for Cam Ward. And I've seen this on Twitter, and annoyingly, I can't remember who posted it. Shout out Brian Callahan, because the line ended up at 8.5, I think, on game day morning. Brian Callahan covered the spread for the 3rd time in his 18-game career.
Excellent.
Congrats.
Start of a streak.
Yeah, I was going to say my stat was the Broncos got the same amount of tackles for loss as 7 as the Titans got first downs. So
let's leave that there then. Excellent. Right, let's have a look at our ATS Picks competition, and we'll touch on the 2 games. There's only 2 games we haven't touched on. And surprisingly, the first one is we haven't talked about Eagles-Cowboys because it felt like it was a week ago now. But yeah, Thursday Night Football, NFL kickoff. Cowboys cover. Cowboys should have won that game, shouldn't we? Really, really should have won that game. So disappointed. Yeah, I thought they played really well anyway, for what it's worth. Offense, first half were awesome. I thought they played really well. Defense stepped up in the second half. Eagles obviously were good offensively, and then also their defense stepped up second half. But I was really disappointed the Cowboys didn't leave the link winning that game. I really thought they should have done.
I think this was the game was so exciting, so fun until that lightning came, and it was just
killed it, didn't it?
Yeah, it just killed it because it was just like going back and forth, and the defense weren't getting anything, and like it may have changed if carried on, but yeah, I think there's hope from the Cowboys. I'm guessing from you guys, there's hope that I don't think the defense stepped up obviously after the lightning strike. It was a struggle to begin with, but I thought they did pretty well against that Eagles team. But the offense looked incredible. Well, incredible might be a bit too far, but they looked amazing, and they thought they could have pushed this Eagles team to the end, and they could have had a chance to win it. And yeah, we'd never know if that lightning strike didn't happen. But yeah, some positives to come out for Cowboys. The moral victory in week 1, which is never where you want to be.
Yeah.
I think that's the right way, though. It is a moral victory. I mean, to keep within spitting distance of the Eagles, which I think is about 18 inches, if you ask Jalen Carter, I think it is a win in itself. There were 8-point underdogs. Charlie's streak continues. I think last time he won a game was Euro 2016, and he hasn't been alive that long. So, yeah, look out for Charlie's pick on Thursday and make sure to fade it.
Fade
Will be my advice.
Yeah, we'll get him going eventually. Jalen Carter's a repugnant human being. To say he went and spat at Dak because Dak spat somewhat near them is insane.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about Jalen Carter, his issues, really killed the Eagles' drive there. You can just Google Jalen Carter drive killer, and you can probably find out more information there.
That just applies to all Georgia players, I think. Anyway, let's move on. Other games. Yeah, so I was fully solo on that. The other game we haven't talked about is, Cardinals Saints. I think I'm classing this as my other bad beat because the Saints were right there. Saints missed a similar field goal as well to what the Niners missed. Done it, and they had 2 shots to get. They had 2 drives that got inside the 5 or inside the 10 to do it. I do think there might be a little bit of hope for the Saints because I actually think they did okay in this one. The defense looked all right. I think it might be because they were just playing the Cardinals. The Cardinals were also quite bad. And Spencer Rattler was okay. Didn't do anything to kill them, which is kind of what you're kind of hoping to do. And they didn't cover. Plus 6.5. Cardinals won by 7.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's much more to add to that game. Cardinals' defense was underwhelming. I thought they'd be a pretty good unit this year, but they were not.
Will Johnson looked decent this first game.
Yeah, he took a tumble down the draft board, didn't he? Yeah, Will Johnson.
I couldn't figure out what name you'd said there. Yeah, he got into it a little bit with somebody as well, didn't he?
Not running not running the 40, but Cardinals 20, Saints 13. So we'll see how that goes. It was awesome to see Chris Olave back, but not awesome to see him get. I was so worried every time he gets it, but he took a couple of massive hits. One he took down like a bit of a check. He was in the backfield and took a check down, and I thought that he got speared through the Superdome floor. Please protect Chris Olave. Kellen Moore. Just
Devon Valet and got him 2 targets, so that seems like a worthwhile trade.
Yeah. Juwan Johnson, I think Juwan Johnson was the Titans' the leading receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He also had the shot to tie the game, really. He had that good catch in the end zone. It was a tough one. But Spencer Rattler couldn't have thrown a better ball. He really couldn't. He put it in the one spot he could go get it, and he sadly just couldn't come down with it. But alas, the Saints couldn't bring it back and give us overtime. Or I think, you know what, I think they probably would have gone for it, actually. Gone for it at home to win it. Right, we won't go through the full detail of the ATS picks, but I think it was a pretty rough week for us. We've still got obviously Monday Night Football to go, and we're all on the Vikings, so it won't change things too much. But I was 6-7-2 with 2 pushes already in week 1. Byron was the same, and Joe was a game behind, 5-8-2. So we can get to 500 at least, Byron, with the Vikings win -1.5 on Monday Night Football, which of course we're recording Monday evening. Fantasy Game Day. We were terrible at Fantasy Game Day. I think we finished like 75th, middle of the pack. Our team was awful. We'll be mixing up next week. But yeah, go join Fantasy Game Day, the UK's premier NFL daily fantasy game and platform. If you've not played before, sign up using promo code COVER. You'll get a free play after your first entry. Got to be 18 years or over, must be in the UK. And of course, please gamble responsibly. I know that promo in my sleep now, I think. It just ticks over. But congratulations to the winner of this. This is of the £7.50 game. There are plenty of games to play. The £3 entry one was the most popular one. I think it was close to 500 entries for the £3 entry one. And Gurmeet had tweeted, Fantasy Game Day tweet, sorry, that it was their most, across all of their different games, their most number of entries they've had in a week. So congrats to the guys, and hopefully that record is broken week after week after week. But yeah, the winning team, JH822547, whoever you are, with 183.28 points. B-John is captain. B-John was a popular one. I've said that huge play for the touchdown 50-yard reception, which kind of nailed that as a great captain pick. Went with Danny Dimes. He was almost just short of 30 points. Danny Dimes also on my fantasy bench. Dak and Jared Goff for the 2 QBs I played in our league. So they got combined 12 points between them. Dinos just sat there with nearly 30. Who else do we have? Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard. I just want to say Chuba Hubbard. Jalen Warren. This is hard if you don't put the names on, Joe. Jesus Christ. JSN, yeah.
Egbuka.
Mika Egbuka, Brock Bowers, and Tyler Warren.
Yeah, it's Tyler Warren. And a little shout out. I was recently a guest. I've been a guest a few times on TH Fantasy Football. Great bunch of lads. Joe, I think you on the 49ers preview this summer as well. Their sneaky stack this week was Daniel Jones and Tyler Warren. So somebody who's been listening to TH or has similar ideas to them, I'm going to say they were listening. So yeah, shout out to those guys. Give them a follow and a subscribe on YouTube as well.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, to Daniel Jones, Taylor Warren, start to the combination of about 44 points. So yeah, pretty. The 2 tight ends was interesting, tight end and the tight end flex. We need a serious talk to have a better start for Fantasy Game Day next week. And last but not least, a quick look ahead to Thursday Night Football. TNF on Prime Video. Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit return. I think it's going to be a great game. We've got the Commanders, 3.5-point underdogs on the road at the Green Bay Packers, who were awesome as discussed. Over under 48. Early chance to show who's leader of the NFC pack. 2 hotly tipped young squads come face to face in opening TNF on Prime Video clash. What's your initial leans and thoughts on this one?
I think I'm going to lean the Packers. I think the Packers were really impressive. I do worry about Conley Jr. on the offensive line for the Commanders. I felt like the Giants tagged him. Obviously, you got Jane Daniel, who's going to skip, but he can't skip everyone. So I think I might look at some bets to have like double up on Parsons and either Van Ness or doubling up on sacks, because I think they might tag him and Jane Daniels might be running around. But I'm leaning the Packers, but I wouldn't also be surprised if Jane Daniels just does Jane Daniel things and makes some magic, and we sat here with the Commanders 2-0.
Following you, Joe. Great matchup. I think it's a real good one for a short week, but short week, see how much Mike Parsons can pick up again, or is it going to be a limited snap basis again, which is kind of what I expect. Jaden Reed, who I was a little concerned about coming into the season with his Jones fracture, how's it going to go? But I mean, they had him returning punts, so the Packers obviously absolutely fine with him playing every single snap, fitness-wise. So we'll see how he is on a short week. I think he's really important to how that offense goes. But, Jordan Love will throw to whoever's there, as we've seen this week. I think it's just a really good matchup. But yeah, I'd be leaning the Packers. If I'm taking a bet, I just think they're a more well-rounded team, yeah. But Jaden Daniels can do Jaden Daniels things, as you say.
Yeah, I feel like while it's 3.5, I think I'm just leaning the Commanders. I think it's going to be a tight one. I know the Packers were good and spoke quite highly of them because they are very, very good. I think the Commanders are a pretty decent team as well, to be fair. So yeah, with it being 3.5, I think I might just take the field goal plus. But we'll see, obviously, if that changes as the week goes. Right, gents, it's in the book. We did it. Week 1 done. On to week 2. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you follow us. Good Teams Win Great Teams cover over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Overcast. Also, Twitter, X, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok for Charlie Picks.
Charlie Picks.
Where else is it? Yeah. Where else is there? Everywhere else that we're on.
You can have our home addresses at this point. Yeah, pop around.
Yeah.
I'll get the kettle on.
Excellent. But yeah, make sure you're following along. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we will catch you on Friday with a fantastic guest that's yet to be determined and our NFL Week 2 preview.